Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are watching SimPlay from. We are here at the Temple of Speed for Pro-Am and not using the typical 90-minute format. We're going back to the basics of the 15-minute reverse grid sprint race and the 1 hour with the one pit stop feature race. And I'm currently joined not by Matt Duffin this week, but by the driver of the number 9 Ford Mustang GT3 for Team SPR, Patty Leger.
Hello, Wellington. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the SimPlay board for granting me the opportunity to commentate with you guys today. I'm very glad to be here.
Yeah, Patty, and I'm excited for this Pro-Am race. It's the Temple of Speed here at Monza. We know how chaotic Monza is, and so far, I think Pro-Am has done a better job putting on a show than the Pro Series.
I think that there's a possibility. I'm, of course, driving more focused on myself, so I cannot completely tell you if that is the true or not. But I'm very much excited for today's race. Looking at both championship standings, both silver and bronze, is basically at the moment a five-way tie, a five-way battle for both championships.
Yeah, especially now that we're at, I would say, the halfway point of the season. We're definitely going to find a lot of those championship battles, and we're going to find people, or most of the drivers, kind of lining up with those people that they are currently competing for. In silver, we currently have Wolski at 386 points, leading over Greaves with 379, Alcapara with 336, Richie with 327, Stardog with 324, and that is the top 5 in silver. And top 5 in bronze, Stapley with 237, Simcoe with 232, Kruppeljan with 230, Malerex with 216, and Sanchez with 201. Then heading into the teams championship, it kind of seems like Greasy Bandits are walking away with the championship. They're at 710 points. Black and Blue Racing are at 543. 4Q at 540. Pulcanos Motorsport at 537. And Vanguard Race Team at 460.
Wow, it all looking close, even in the team championship for at least P2 at the moment. What do you think we can expect today, Beefy? Wellington, and my apologies.
No worries on that one, Patty. I think it'll be really, really close. We have a new driver that who is currently topping the timesheets of Murray with a 48.9. Then Johnson, Flores, Bedison, and then the bronze driver Kruppeljan, who I think is doing extremely well now that we're a little bit later in the season. He had a pole last week at Silverstone, and I can't remember if he won it or not, but he had extremely good pace, and he looks to have packed up and sent the exact same car from Silverstone here to Monza.
I mean, definitely for P5 Group GN and Petrovic as well, two bronze drivers currently in practice who are putting impressive times. Of course, we do not know yet how much field they are running, putting those times in, but we can all assume those are qualification practice times.
Yeah, but still very, very close between Kruppeljan and Petrovic. Then quite a ways down to the next bronze driver of Simcoe. Then another gap to Kucharski and the 338 BMW. And then again, all the bronze drivers keep finding themselves in these little groups of 3, maybe 5 cars in the practice sessions, and I would say in some of the race sessions, which is why that bronze class is just so close.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think keeping in mind that not all the drivers are showing all of their cards yet. Bronze championship leader Stapley just seemingly off pace in P20, but we of course do not know if that is his best time or there's more to come.
Yeah, and also maybe some of the drivers are saving their tires because again, they're gonna just with the 15-minute sprint race and the 1 hour race, maybe they want to take tires in that 1 hour race and are gonna save an extra set, and maybe they just don't want to burn through 2 sets just in the practice session.
I mean, that's especially true for today's weather, which basically will be scorching hot today. So I can only imagine that the tires will be melting away, especially during the 60-minute race in race 2. So I think you have a very good point there that drivers probably want to save the tires.
But yeah, another 2 minutes left in this free practice session. Who are you keeping your eye on for this 15-minute sprint race?
Um, I think our newcomer Murray. I think if Murray is showing the pace that he does now, I think he can. I think he can mess up the top 5 in silver a little bit and maybe cause some good type of drama if you catch my drift.
Yeah, I completely get you. Of course, I've been doing all of the pro-am races, but I'm gonna keep my eye open for Michael Johnson. He and that Lexus gels very, very well together, and some of the moves that he was putting on at Bathurst, going down into the chase, which again is another hard braking corner, very similar to most of the turns that we have here at Monza. I would expect him to put on some very, very solid dive bombs.
So you're telling me that Johnson has mastered the skill of braking with the Lexus. That is not very well known for their good braking parts.
Yeah, again, just some of the moves that he was doing at Bathurst were shocking both me and Duffin, because we know that the Lexus is a little iffy when it comes to its brakes, but he had that car on lock.
Well, maybe he doesn't need to dive bomb today because the Lexus up is probably the fastest car in a straight line. In a straight line, in a straight line, basically. Which in Monza we have a lot of them.
Yeah, I would say also the Bentley as well. The Ford Mustang does have that 20% restrictor, which might is going to be an understatement, but is definitely going to hold it as the free practice session ends now. Just a little bit of a wait time. But Murray leads the practice session and Kruppeljan leads the bronze in practice.
Yeah, I have to say also that it is impressive Murray's pace in the BMW M4. Of course, in my experience, that is not really that great of a car. It's very slow to reach its top speed. It can definitely be fast in a straight line, but I mean, I think you have to be a very good driver to be fast with the M4.
Yeah, and if I remember, this is the first race that Tyler DeBlock is doing back in the silver class, still in the McLaren, just a little bit of a different paint scheme or different livery for this season.
Well, talking about Tyler the Block, he is just off practice pole position with 0.026 of a difference behind Murray.
Yeah,
So maybe the
very,
paint job is doing wonders.
yeah, very, very good lap from him. If I had to assume, that was a little more of a quali lap, just going over some of the curves. He looked very, car looked very, very planted.
I mean, my experience with the McLarens, I mean, you can definitely count on its predictability. So I think you can set up the McLaren quite aggressive and still do well with it. But anyway, the top 3 within the tent. I mean, after the race 1, it will be a stellar qualification. But let's see if everyone can survive the horrors of turn 1.
Yeah, just a little bit to go before the 15-minute sprint race gets underway. Tyler DeBlock on reverse grid silver pole, and was that Hughes on reverse grid bronze pole. Not sure what happened and why it's showing Hughes in front of Williams. And it has Argent all the way overall last.
30 seconds.
All right. Yes. So
20 seconds.
with Duffin being our producer, I've just heard that Arjun requested to be at the back because he was unsure that he was going to make it. And Williams is a bronze driver, just that his number plate got messed up. But just a handful of seconds before they get underway for the formation lap here at Monza on the 15-minute sprint.
I'm looking forward to today's 2 races. I mean, with turn one being, of course, one of the more sketchy turns of the first lap of the race. I think there could be a lot of opportunities for drivers that maybe they don't have that great of a season, and maybe they can really kick the start their season if there's some unfortunate incidents happening.
Yeah, again, especially with that turn one, very, very hit or miss, literally. We see last week's feature race winner Sam Greaves starting in 15th overall, but from what I've seen from Sam this season, him and that Mercedes, very, very good combo. He seems to just really gel with it more than, if I remember in the past, they've driven the BMW and the Porsche. I think this might be the car for him, and he's not far out from Wolski, so could this be the makings of a Sam Greaves championship charge, do you think, Patty?
I definitely think so. Of course, last week he dominated the Silverstone Grand Prix, becoming first with, I believe, 18 seconds ahead of Wolski, and cutting the championship cutting the Wolski's championship lead down to, I believe, 6 points, which is nothing. So basically, it's so far I know a two-way fight between two very good drivers with Sam Greaves and Wolski.
Yeah, and could we maybe see Wolski on the top step of the podium here in this sprint race, because he's only been the bridesmaid, just not yet the bride. We've seen him on the podium many of times, but could he get that elusive first win of the season, even if it is just a 15-minute sprint race?
I mean, consistency is key, and if that he didn't still won a race and still is leading the championship proves his quality. So I'm sure somewhere around the season, maybe today, he will catch a win. I'm sure of it. And but he needs to be careful, because if Sam Greaves can dominate the Silverstone Grand Prix last week like he did, I mean, who does it tell me that he cannot do it today or in the future races?
Yes. And just now heading into Ascari. Again, Tyler DeBlock on silver pole and Hughes on bronze pole. I'm quite excited for this 15-minute sprint race because, again, we know just how chaotic these sprint races are, with every driver competing for the smallest of gaps. Again, because it's only 15 minutes and not an hour or 90 minutes where you have time to really think about your moves.
Yeah, there's a saying that you cannot win a race in turn one, but I don't think that really applies to the sprint races, because of course if you want to have a good result and you're a little bit behind the back, you have to create those moves really quickly.
And we're going to go with the Helicam for turn one as they are just now heading out of Parabolica. And with that, if my brother's watching, he'll understand exactly this reference. We've got them racked. We've got them stacked. The virtual grandstands are packed, and we are about to go green.
Green light, go, go, go.
It's showtime. 15 minutes here of Monza. The block gets a decent start, but it looks like Flores is able to match that as they head going into turn 1. How late are they going to go on the brakes? The block just a little bit harder. Very, very clean so far. A little bit of contact with Wolski.
I see already some incidents at the back.
Mostly clean. It looked like Hughes got pushed off. Yes, and is that Kucharski? Yes to that as well. But otherwise, it's been fairly clean. The 86 is off. Oh, as the timing tower is attempting to fix itself.
Yeah, at the moment, I think the driver who got the worst off turn 1 is Bardi.
Oh, is that Sam Greaves off in the second chicane?
There are a lot of drivers up in the second chicane where Williams, Argent, Tucker are all involved in the incident, and Stapley is looking like he is behind the pack as well.
Yeah, just missed that due to the timing tower fixing itself. But the block leads with an 8/10 gap over Flores, who now is under threat. Or Gerbino is under threat from Steve Millington and Hunt not far out. But that Ford Mustang of Cherry Moore is in the slipstream, and it looks like he's closing all clean through Ascari, the number 91. Who is that? Sanchez is off.
Maybe so, but at the back from P10 onwards, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of cars really close fighting each other. Well, there, Betterson is already doing a pit stop while other cars are following him in.
Yeah. Millington in, Hunt in, Wolski in, Murray in, Hughes and Smith all in for their lap 1 pit stops. And look, the block 2 seconds clear so far of Flores, and they have another second to Gerbino. But pit lane very, very busy at the moment, even with just a handful of cars. Stapley in as well.
Yeah, I would like you to direct to a fight from P6 onwards. There's a 4-5-way fight for P6 at the moment. I saw Coet is getting forced off the track at turn 1. So it's definitely a spicy fight from P6 at the moment.
As we see Stardog trying to attack that of Coates, who second race in the silver category. I feel like he's done extremely well to hold his own weight. He was in the bronze category, but after his 3-race evaluation, he has been bumped up to that silver class. As Stardog gonna go to the outside, Coates gonna keep it in, bounces off the curb, gets passed by Stardog, and Alcapara and Coates both make contact at the last part of Ascari.
That's an absolute shame for Alcapara, because of course he is one of the silver drivers who is in the championship fight as well, so he can definitely not use that. Yeah, both drivers looking like they can continue, but I have to say that was a brilliant move from Stardog around the outside of Ascari.
Yeah, very, very solid move. Right now, I'm on the Cherry Moore, Gerbino, and Johnson fight. Just 3 pigs, and I'm pretty sure you could throw them under a blanket with just how close they are. Gerbino was in 3rd place last lap. Just lost out to the Ford Mustang that probably had just a little more oomph. We know that the Lamborghini isn't the best car in a straight line. What it lacks in a straight line. Ooh, Johnson, can he go for the up and under? Not yet.
He is having a look though. I think they are side by side now.
Yes, going into Lesmo 1, Gerbino gets better of him in Lesmo 1, but heading into Lesmo 2, there's a long straight, so maybe if Johnson could get the power down, he might be able to stretch his legs over that Lamborghini.
Yeah, if you have a good exit around the corner, then I think it's done for the Lamborghini. But the Lamborghini is very good around the corners, and that he can compensate a little bit. But I have a feeling that the Lamborghini will struggle today.
Yeah, and tomorrow night as well, but Johnson's still not able to make a move on that of Gerbino. Could this maybe be a sign for Johnson to pit a little bit earlier, just that way he could maximize that Lexus straight line power? Oh, he's gonna go for a dive bomb here on Gerbino, sticks it, and gets it sent very, very well, very, very clean. Now is Gerbino going to pit in? No,
Oh,
but
Johnson is
Johnson
pitting.
does.
I mean, a little bit of a show off from Johnson. I mean, he dived down the inside of Parabolica and made a stick, and then decided directly to pit, which you can question that it is probably not the fastest way, but definitely the most excited way.
Yeah, maybe that could be the difference between coming out ahead and coming out behind, as we are now on board with, I think, another new driver, Jirash. He goes a little bit wide at the exit of the first corner.
Yeah, I would
Not
like you.
seeing-
I would like you to direct to P20, where everyone was already pitting are fighting close to each other. So this could be potentially for a lot of positions when everyone has pitted.
And it looks like Murray has a bit of damage on the front end of his BMW M4. And looks like Wolski also has a little bit of damage on that as well. But all of these cars, again, half pitted, and it looks like Millington is leading them by a country mile, I might say, over Hunt, Wolski, Murray, Bettison. And is that Mirko Ritchie just in the back? It is. But if they keep fighting, it's going to be a huge gap to close up. But as we wait for the timing tower to fix itself going through split one, DeBlock still hasn't pitted yet. He's got a 4-second gap over Flores and another 3-second gap back to Cherry Moore. It'll be interesting to see when they do pit.
I mean, it's very
Especially
smart.
as we just hit the halfway mark.
Yeah, especially I think it's very smart from the block to continue because he has free air, nobody to bother him at the moment. So I think he should just put in really fast laps and see where he will be ending up after he makes his pit stop.
And all the cars that have pitted so far, they've been scrapping so hard that Millington has extended his gap a little bit. But one of the Lexus, I think that's Bettison, goes for a look on Murray, doesn't make it.
Bettison doesn't look like he is really confident in his brakes. He has really difficulties trying to pass Murray, who's being BMW. Doesn't look like it had his best time today. But it's kind of worrying for Bettison that he is not able to make those moves fixed.
Yeah, and looks like Rob Smith is under attack from Petrovic. In the BMW M4, Petrovic, very, very good on the brakes, closes in quite a lot to Rob Smith. They had about a car length and a half between the two, but it seems like that Nissan is just going to have a little more legs over that of the BMW of Petrovic.
So that means we probably see an exciting dive on for Petrovic. However, Petrovic looks like he's getting closer to Smith. Will he go down the inside of turn one, or does he think better of it? And he takes the second option.
Yeah, probably for the best, because one incident in turn one can, I would say, mess up not only your race, but other people's races around you, as they're going to have to try and avoid.
To be honest, he had the momentum. If I was in Petrovic's shoes, I will probably have to make the dive bomb and try to make a stick. But that's of course my driving style, so let's not talk about that too much.
Seems like Johnson made a mistake as Gerbino, Hunt, Wolski, Murray, and that whole fight is just on the back of him now as we see Craig, Broom, and Jiraj now in for their mandatory one stop. And it seems like this train is only getting bigger. Greaves just off the back, Murray just off the back.
At the moment I'm looking that Stapley is making a move stick around to Malarex. He's down the inside of Ascari. They are going side by side, but Stapley is pushing Malarex off. And he's making the move stick for P24.
Yeah, and the Bentley is also a car that shouldn't go without mention. It too does not have the restrictor and has a very similar top speed to that of the Lexus, although it reaches it very, very fast and it tops out quite quick as well.
Well, Jura's race is over because he has a 30-second stop-go penalty. I don't know for what he got it, but his race is
most
over.
likely for speeding in the pit lane, either entry or exit. But very, very unlucky for him in his SimPlay debut. And DeBlock and Flores are now in. Let's see, Cherry Moore in as well. Stardog stays out.
Hunt is defending from Wolski, who's trying to go down the inside of the first Lesbo. But Wolski got pushed off a little bit into the grass and has to back out.
Just caught the tail end of that, but it seems like Urbino's starting to put a little bit of air between the two of them. Or in between himself, Greaves, and Wolski as we look at the Lexus of Bettison maybe going for a move, not yet. Mirko Ricci closing a lot on the brakes, but this has been a very, very good scrap. We just have to see how much time that they lose to people, or the drivers like DeBlock, Flores, Cherry Moore, and the rest of their fellow silver drivers.
Yeah, I know P. Wolski will have a very difficult time passing Hunt because Hunt is really ready to throw hands. It seems like he was very aggressive at before the first Lesbo, and that plays in the hand of Gabino. Well, Gabino is under pressure from Wolski.
I just watched that of Steve Millington power by the Lexus of Flores, I believe, coming out of the pit lane, but he still has a huge margin to DeBlock, who is just now going into the second chicane, and Millington is just on the exit of the Curva Grande.
Well, in the meanwhile, at turn 1, Wolski made the move stick on Gabino. Gabino is now P11, while Wolski is P10, and Gabino's under threat from Bettison. Bettison goes down the inside of the second chicane, but Gabino defends brilliantly down the outside. Bettison down the inside of the first Lesbo. Does he make it stick? The answer is yes, he does make it stick.
Yes, a little bit of a love tap from that of Gerbino. Now Ricci going to attack his fellow Lamborghini, and maybe the Mercedes of Greaves? No. But, again, that's now bringing Murray back into this fight. He was just off the back of the peloton, but now, again, he's just... I think he has severe front damage. Oh, Greaves is off.
That is crucial for the championship lead. And Wolski will take the lead down, I think, after this race. Look at the damage of the Mercedes from Greaves.
Yeah, very heavy front end damage with only a minute left.
I mean, you got to feel for Greaves. I think he had a good race. He was close to Wolski, but now he's losing ground in the championship if it stays like this. 50 seconds to go. So the race is almost done.
Yeah, it should be either this lap or one more lap. DeBlock just now going through the Curva Grande. And right now, battle between Cherry Moore, Stardog, and Hunt, I believe, as well. Yes. So that train has just now added Cherry Moore to it. Johnson well clear of that peloton. And looks like he's closing onto the back of Flores. Yes.
Well, Gabino is falling down the grid. Uh, Very much so, because he's now under threat by Murray, and Murray is making the move sick. I think there's something wrong with the Lamborghini of Gabino, because he's losing a lot of places in a couple of laps' time.
Oh, he's coming back at Murray going into Lesmo 2. Had a far better exit than that of Murray and makes it stick. And is that Craig just behind? Yes, it is as well. And Simcoe not far out from this little train either. So Simcoe currently leading that bronze class. We could maybe see him scrapping up with a couple of these silver drivers who are just a little bit out of touch. Never mind. He is now on the back, almost spins on the Ascari curve.
The leader has finished the race.
And
It's
Stanek now.
Unfortunately, that Simcoe had to back out of that because he almost crashed into the wall, of course. But now that means that Stanek is in front.
De Block wins the sprint race. Felt much quicker than it usually did. Followed by Steve Millington, Flores, Johnson, and Stardog in your top 5. Stanek is going to come to win the bronze class, followed by Simcoe and Broom on the sprint bronze podium. Another good showing from Privet. He's really been up there the last couple of weeks. And Rob Smith as well.
Yeah, and let's remind that Wolski did great misses in his hunt for a silver title, especially with Greaves being outside of the top 30, which means that he is not collecting a lot of points in race 1 at all.
And Kruppeljan way down the order in 29th. Not the best showing for him, but again, let's see if he can make it up. He's got the bronze pole last week out at Silverstone, so it'll be interesting to see what he could do in qualifying and in terms of the entire race.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, with the benefit of race 2 being a 60-minute race, even if something does happen, you can maybe claw something back after all and limit the damage. So there's no man overboard at all today, and I'm curious who will get pole position.
Just waiting on Greaves and Coates going through a scarring, and it has Garage way down, even though he did cross the line.
Well, Chiras is in the pit lane currently, even though he doesn't have the checkered flag, I think. He could be retired, but do not hold me on that. So anyway, Coates and Greaves needs to finish the race, and then we are probably done for race 1.
Yeah, and then we'll go into the 10-minute intermediary session before bronze qualifying in the first 10 minutes. Welcome back for the first of two qualifying sessions, starting out with the bronze drivers, as we are now on Tucker, who his qualifying have been, I would say, pretty solid from what I've seen, but Will Kruppeljan, who I've been keeping my eye out on the last couple of weeks, is he going to be able to take yet another class pole?
Who knows? He will be the fourth driver who will be starting his first qualification lap. Of course, first qualification lap doesn't tell a lot because normally you need like 2 laps to really warm up your tires. So the first lap will of course be a banker lap. But with 10 minutes to go, you better set the banker lap because who knows? Maybe he can still salvage something if the rest of the qualification doesn't go to plan.
Yep, and again, this is all for bronze drivers. Williams will be out as well. Again, even though he has a silver plate, he's actually a bronze driver. Just the plate had gotten messed up. But Tucker, first one to start a lap, followed by that of Rob Smith, Stapley, and Kruppeljan just now coming up to the line. 3-3 AF Kacharski. And Malerex. And off for the 473. Is that Jamie Lee? It is. But all of the bronze drivers, almost all of the bronze drivers, are on their first of laps. And now, Patty, is it better to stay in the slipstream and try to get most of your time on the straight, or just kind of go solo, like what we're seeing with Tucker, and just put in laps by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's better to put laps by yourselves unless you have the great ability to start a little bit behind of the driver in front of you and catch up till, let's say, after the second lap mode to catch a little bit of a slipstream. Other than that, I would just not bother with slipstream and just focus on yourself.
Okay. And Tucker just now going through a scar. It looks like he's going to invalidate it. Ran a little bit wide. So I think Rob Smith might be the first driver to get a lap in. They're now heading down into Parabolica. There's quite a big group with Williams, Sanchez, and few other drivers, that of Neil Broom, Malerex, and Kacharski, kind of all very, very close to each other. Stapley goes top of the board with a 49.8. Another 5 minutes left in this bronze qualifying session.
Yes.
Kruppeljan.
Also, I see
Kruppeljan
that
goes quick time.
Juras is also on track. I believe he is a silver driver. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, so that might be a qualifying ban for next week.
Clearly, Juras has not written the rule books. The first 10 minutes is only allowed for bronze drivers to qualify.
Ooh, Simcoe, less than a 10th out from Kruppeljan. Is he going to be able to maybe rival Kruppeljan for that bronze pole? We've seen that, again, Kruppeljan has been extremely good through his qualifying sessions, usually getting pole by a 10th. I think Silverstone was 3/10 the gap. So
and now his lead is on half a tenth. So, of course, it's the first lap. So, of course, we will see later on what the gaps exactly will be. Because I expect all those drivers can improve their lap times by a lot now, since everyone has probably turned their tires on as we speak.
Yeah, and I think Barty is out for the first of his laps. I can't remember who all has a qualifying ban, but Tucker, again, is going to be first up to the line. 2.9 or 2.4 seconds out from pole. He jumps up to 8th. Next up, that of Rob Smith, who jumps up to 10th. Would be 9th as Jarash is out. I don't see any
improved
more
his lap time
improvements.
by 4/10. It's now at 49.5.
9.5. Yes, and 4/10 to that of Simcoe. Another 10th out to that of Sanchez. The number 12 comes across the line. Petrovic, 3/10 out. Next up is the 63 of Privet. Can he improve?
The answer is no. He stays P10.
No. Jarash goes up to 4th.
And Bardi stays P40. He did not improve his lap time. The first bronze driver who will be crossing the line now will be Tucker, who is now approaching Ascari.
Yeah, I'm currently on board with Rob Smith. He only needs 1.8 seconds to get that bronze pole. Maybe a little more comfort. Might be closer to 2 seconds, especially if Kruppeljan is going to keep improving Petrovic and Simcoe as well. Look to have some very, very good qualifying pace.
At the moment, Tucker is a Parabolica. He is 2/10 up at the moment. He is a very good Parabolica, but he messes up the exit and loses all of his time. He will not improve his lap by this lap.
Very good exit from Rob Smith. He jumps up to 8th. The next group, Kruppeljan in a world of his own. Next group has Malarex. Is he going to be able to improve from 10th up to 8th?
A small improvement from him, but it gains him a couple of positions. P. Williams improves to P7.
Sanchez now up to 2nd. Only a 10th out. They have, I think, one more lap to put in a lap before the silver drivers head out for their qualifying session.
Yeah, I think Tucker might be the only one who has 2 more laps in it, depending, of course, how much fuel he has. Other than that, I think this is the last lap for all of the drivers. And Tucker is off into the gravel. He takes the inside curve of 2nd lap smoke completely wrong. And he is now the way till every traffic is passing by. So that is probably his qualification over as well.
Yeah, still on board with Rob Smith. Kruppeljan is done for his qualifying session. But Sanchez looks to be on a bit of a heater. I saw that he took a little bit too much curb on the second half of the second chicane, so maybe that could be the defining factor between getting pole and getting 2nd.
Yeah, I think the other driver who's also in contention is Petrovic, who's also now into Ascari at the moment. Of course, I'm curious if he can improve 2/10 upon Group John's time.
Yeah, we're just now seeing Sanchez on the exit of Parabolica. Will he be able to get those 2/10 to go quick time? He does not. He just got in for one more lap with an extra 8 seconds on the board. Petrovic goes quick time with a 49.4.
And he is stopping, so that means that this will be his final lap. Amazing lap for Petrovic, who's jumping Grosjean. I don't know if that is an upset or not, but definitely Grosjean will not be happy that he missed out on bronze pole.
Yeah, it was a very, very good lap. The last bronze driver to get a lap in will be that of Neil Broom, but Neil Broom only 7/10 out. But I'm going to keep my eye on that of Sanchez as the silver drivers are now out for their qualifying session.
Yeah, there's a lot to gain for Sanchez. Of course, a little bit of pride to get bronze pole position. Well, Tucker is still into the gravel at the exit of the second Lesbo. I don't know why. But I mean, do you think he will be getting pole?
It's gonna be very, very close, only 2/10 out, and I think Neil Broom invalidated on the exit of the second Lesmo. No, he still has him gray, so he should still be on a lap, but he went very, very wide. And
Sanchez is backing
Sanchez
out.
let him go.
So that's it for bronze. Petrovic is your bronze pole sitter for today, and now we're moving on to silver.
Yep. Any improvement for Broom? No. So silver, first one out, Mirko Ricci, who has been extremely, extremely solid when it comes to qualifying. He's taken pole in Spa, Silverstone, and Valencia the last few weeks.
I mean, just like his brother Richie, Richie is really good with the Lamborghini, and it's really impressing me that even though this is probably one of their weakest tracks regarding the Lamborghini, he is still putting a solid performance and putting the Lamborghini where I think personally it doesn't belong.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he has that car hooked up in qualifying and in some of the races with longer straights.
So that goes to shows that if you can set your car up right, all the negative sides of a car you can kind of mitigate with it. Of course, not everything, but like Mirko Ricci is definitely proof of that. He is able to do that. And by the way, Betterson, I believe it was Betterson, he crashes out into a wall, so he has to go back to the garage and get his car repaired. That is definitely not good with less than 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate for him. So that's going to take those 7 minutes and probably shrink them to about 4 or 5 minutes. And he might get
My apologies,
one,
it was
maybe.
Johnson who hit the ball, not Betterson. They are driving the same car. My apologies for that.
As we see Richie just now coming out of Parabolica and up to the line. What is his time? Goes up to, of course, first overall with a 49.3. And Bedison beats it with a 49.0 to go to quick time.
Really impressive times for what seemingly looks like banker laps. I mean, those two drivers, especially Betterson, seems like to be a league of their own today.
Wolski looking up the inside of that of Millington heading into turn 1. It looks like Millington has a bit of damage on that car. I don't know if that's cosmetic or if he actually has damage.
I think he has a little bit of damage at the front of the rear of the car. I see a little bit of those gray scratches, especially on the rear of the car. So I think there was a little incident between him and Stardog potentially.
And the block goes up to second, only another 3/10 out. So the lap that Bedison put for his first one seems to be an absolute heater. Murray 6/10 out, Popovich a second out.
I mean, if that is his banker lap and he's still 3.5 tenths in front of the block, who's second. I mean, I'm a little bit afraid what he can do when his tires are up to temperatures. Of course, we will find out soon because he's heading to Parabolica, almost finishing his second lap of the session. What will his time be?
Richie does not improve, stays down in third position. The 75 of Bedison
Does
doesn't
not
improve as well. Cherry Moore 7/10 out. Can't tell if he improved on his first lap or not.
Well, the
Popovich
block,
now only a 10th out.
and the block is now trying to improve as well, and he does. He gets pole position by 2.5 tenths, and he's getting a mighty slipstream for Bardi as well, who is also presumably on the qualification lap. So this could be a
Murray
bit
now
messy.
goes. Sorry, Patty. Murray now goes quick time with a 48.6, a little under a tenth of the block's time.
It's really popping off silver qualification now. It's really unpredictable. Will we getting pole position? As it seems like it.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be one of the Lexus on pole, but it seems to be a very, very good mix of all of the cars so far.
A little bit of a worrying sign, because I see that Bettinson, the 75 Lexus, who's currently P3, is into the pit lane. And with only 3 minutes to go, you got to wonder if he has enough time to set a proper qualification lap. That might his session over.
Yeah, I think it is. I think he might just try and save his nerves for the actual race and not waste them all in qualifying. As Richie up to the line still doesn't improve. So it seems like his first one, the fastest. Cherry Moore, any improvement for him? 1.1 seconds out. Goes up to 6th, only 6/10 out, still with 2 minutes left on the clock. Wolski, P5.
Will the block catch pole position at the moment? He does not.
Very, very close between the two of them. Murray is just now coming out of Parabolica. Is he going to be able to add to the gap?
He does not. But with 1 or maybe 2 more laps to go, Murray is putting an impressive show at the moment as the newcomer of SimPlay.
Yeah, very, very solid. We saw him at the top of the practice leaderboard, but it seems like he's bringing some of that practice pace into qualifying, even though DeBlock is less than a 10th out from him.
I mean, Murray is definitely making the expectation true if we looking back at practice. So he was definitely not sandbagging or in any type of form that. Patterson is officially done for qualification today. I think you're right, he will save tires, but he's taking a massive risk that we probably fall down the order more than he might want to.
Yeah, Richie again up to the line. Is there going to be any improvement for him? Will get 1 more lap in. He's dropped down to 7th now.
But he got back up to 6th. So and 1 more good lap and he can get Patterson, who is P4 at the moment. He got already jumped by Alcapara, who's P3 at the moment.
Cherry Moore, no improvement for him. Next up is Wolski. No improvement as well. The 80A of Popovich stays 5th.
I have to say a little bit of a disappointed qualification for Sam Greaves, who's only 17th, with more than a second behind current pole sitter.
Yeah, and I would say for Star Dog and Coates as well. We've seen Coates generally a little further up and are very, very close to that top 10 as the session has now ended. Richie is back into the pits.
Oh, a massive jump for Greaves. Greaves is P4. He managed to salvage this deficit with a very good lap, I might say. Currently P4, that he can definitely work from his devastating race 1 to catch some points back to Wolski.
It looks like Kacharski is still out as well. So that might be a quali ban for next week. As we're now on or focused on that of Wolski, currently down in 8th, half a second out from pole. Is there any potential for him to go up to quick time, just now exiting Ascari with...
I think it will be a huge win for him if he can improve upon Sam Greaves this time, that he can start in front of him.
Yeah, he has Popovich behind him, who is 4/10 out. But Wolski improves up to 7th. Popovich goes up to 3rd. That of Stardog moves up to 14th. He is done. The block with a 48.1, 4/10 clear of Murray. Well, Murray now up to the line, pulls it into the pit. So that is qualifying done for the Silvers. Quite a fun qualifying session, I will say.
I definitely agree with you, Wellington. And I have to say, impressive performance from the block, who puts 5/10, almost 5/10 up to Murray, who's P2, and 7/10 up to Popovich on P3. I mean, the block is showing his dominance as we speak.
Yeah, and we know that the block is extremely quick when he can get that McLaren and it's set up right. As we have just a little bit of time for these drivers to get their strategies worked on for the 1 hour feature race, not the 90-minute with 2 pit stops, but again, back with the rare format.
Yeah, and of course, with the scorching hot temperatures today, the track is 43 degrees as we speak. The tire will be huge, and the timing of the first and only pit stop will be crucial. Will you try to go in later and have the massive upset at the last part of the race, or will you go early and try to go for an undercut? What would you do if you were in that situation, Wellington?
I would try and go for a little bit of the overcut, use the fresher tires through some of the
20 seconds.
harder corners like that of Ascari and Lesmo, and see if I could bring myself closer to those cars ahead and just knock in the clean laps and wait for everyone to kind of have those their own mistakes.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially that Monza is definitely a track you can overtake with. I think it's worth it to maybe fuel your car up a little bit more and go for a late pit stop, and then go all out on your last stint. Especially if your pacing your first stint is already good, and you can use the clean air to try to mitigate the undercut.
As we just now start the formation lap, and Patty, I just want to take a second. Last night, in the league by Fox Teco, our very own Matthew Duffin took again to the comms box almost immediately after the LMU race, and very, very strong showing from 2 of our own drivers, that of Tanner Kneebone and that of my own brother, and I got to see it live, Ramsey Jimenez. So 2 very, very strong showings for Team SimPlay over there. Just now expanding their wings into iRacing, and we've seen how successful LMU's been on PC. So maybe we could get an iRacing league together in the near future.
I think there's definitely a possibility, especially since iRacing, quite an old game, is still very popular in the sim racing community. I think that could be a good opportunity for SimPlay Motorsports to set their wings out as well regarding iRacing. But I think already a brilliant move from SimPlay to move over to LMU for the Tuesday League competitions. And so far from what I could hear of, it has been a massive success.
It has indeed, especially racing in it. But Stardog and Jamie Lee both starting from the pits. Could this maybe be a sign that there's going to be a little bit of chaos, even though there's only 60 minutes and lots of time to make those moves?
I do not think they starting from the pit lane will signing that there could be some lap one chaos. I think there could be maybe a glitch where they were forced to start from the pit lane. Anyway, that's unfortunate, but maybe also a blessing in disguise to avoid all the corners into turn one if there will be any.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe the glitch, but I don't know. ACC is a little not as polished as LMU. But as they are heading towards the last corner, they should just now get the signal to go double file. And have you thought the 15 minutes worth of action kept you on your toes? We have 4 times the amount of action with a 1 hour feature race.
Yeah, 60 minutes of all with only action, drama, whatever you want to see in a race. We will offer it to you today with the block leading, Murray second and Popovic third. Will the top three stay as it is, or will there be drama? Over to you, Wellington.
All right, as they again are just on the exit, I'm gonna try and time it just a little bit closer. But for the second time tonight, we've got them racked, we've got them stacked. The virtual grandstands are packed. We are about to go green. It looks like Murray's just a little bit ahead of the block. They're fixing themselves. 1 hour
Little-
Green light.
here at Monza. It's showtime.
And a very good start from the block. Murray managed to go side by side by him, heading into turn one. Popovic and Acapara are very close as well. How will turn one end up to be? The block seems like taking the lead, not giving Murray the chance to go side by side. It seems like everything goes fairly cleanly.
Yeah, oh, car off in the distance. That's Diego Flores. But otherwise, everyone looks to have made it through cleanly. Oh, I think that's Stapley in the Bentley off behind.
Yeah, that was Stabley definitely behind. So he definitely was very unfortunate, and he has to make his way back into the group of cars, trying to salvage some result out of it. Anyway, still a long race to go for him, and the block is still leading as we speak, with Murray close behind.
Very, very good start from Wolski. He went between that of Bettison and another car, which I think may have been Sam Greaves, heading down into turn one. And
Which is
he
very
now
crucial for... Oh, my apologies, go
he
ahead.
now he now sets his eyes on that of Popovic, who is just within touching distance, but there is a huge 2 second gap between that of Popovic and Murray, who's now with that of the block.
I have to say, Wolski is truly on his A game today. Of course, he gained a lot in the championship in race 1 on Greaves. And he started behind Greaves in the race and is already 2 places up in P4, while Greaves is in P6. Greaves today is not truly enjoying the race as we speak. Maybe there still could be something changing for him, but as we speak, Wolski has the upper hand.
I saw Coates off at that of a scarring, just waiting for every single driver to go through, which must have been extremely painful. But I guess from now on for Coates, it's just to get your head down, put in all the laps, especially after you hit. I think he hit the bump wrong in the McLaren on the second part, but Murray still on the back of the block.
Well, for
Wolski,
fighting for P17, Gabino and Millington were side by side, but Gabino took the lead of the two of them before the second chicane.
Yeah, Wolski looked under threat from Alcapar and the Mercedes behind, and Greaves is looking very, very racy on the back of them and slowly carrying Bettison along. So this could maybe be a four-car fight, but it seems like Popovich has checked out from that group, and he's going to try and close up to Murray and the block.
Yeah, Popovich is in an outstanding position to chase down the lead two cars, who are also very close behind. So Popovich probably want the two leading cars to fight each other a little bit, so he can profit of it. But at the moment, Greaves seems to be like very racy, very aggressive, trying to force Alcapara in this instant into a mistake. Well, Alcapara trying to overtake Wolski as well.
Sanchez had a little just got a little unsettled in Ascari and got passed by that of Hunt. Kieran Argent now looking down the inside as they head down the front straight. Girage under pressure from Gerbino. Gerbino taking a look. Getting closer. Is he going to send it? Argent goes straight off at turn one.
Well, the fight for P4, Alcapara goes down the inside of the second chicane, trying to overtake Wolski. Wolski is defending the inside, my apologies for that. I was mistaken, and Alcapara is not daring to have a dive down the inside of the second chicane. Well, Grease is also luring very close. It's an outstanding fight for P4 between 3-4 cars at the moment.
Yeah, very, very solid fight. Johnson almost on the back of his teammate. Richie down in ninth. One of his worst qualifying sessions this season. Cherry Moore is in a world of his own. Petrovic now coming under pressure from that of Kruppeljan. And then there's a huge gap to the battle from 13th all the way down to, what would that be? Almost 20th.
Yeah, and at the moment Alcapara is still within 2/10 of Wolski. Alcapara seems really like he wants to pass Wolski for 4th place so he can chase down P3. Wolski seems to be struggling a little bit at the moment, I might say, probably due to Alcapara putting a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah,
Well, Greaves is losing 6th place to Patterson and probably Johnson as well. The two black and blue racing putting Greaves on the back foot, it seems like, and yes, they do.
And Greaves gonna work around the outside on the brakes, doesn't get him. So the two Lexuses are both ahead of Sam Greaves. I would say before turn one, it looked like they had it clear. Now Greaves is under pressure from that of Richie. Alcapara still just on the back of Wolski. And then seems like the gap for the two of them when it comes to, or in relation to Popovich has come down just a little bit. The 56 is off at the first chicane. That's that of Simcoe. Heavy damage on the entry to turn one wall. Gonna see if he's gonna try and get that going. He returns to the pits.
Well, I keep an eye on Alcapara, who is really close to Wolski, but he is not daring a move yet. Maybe he is a little bit too scared of where he is at the moment, because he is also close to the championship.
Wide.
Yeah, definitely very wide. That does not help. That will not help and defend the position at the moment.
And it seems like the Lexus of, is that Bettison? Yes, he's rubbing his hands because he knows that the long front stretch is coming and he might be able to get past the Mercedes. We also know that, I would say, he's also very, very good on the brakes, but not as good as that of Michael Johnson, his teammate right behind. Bettison looking down the inside, doesn't go for it on Alcapara. Alcapara runs a little wide though.
There's a little bit of pressure getting to Alcapara. Betterson down the inside. You see that the move stuck. Side by side at the moment.
Seems like the top speed of that Lexus is just gonna get him through, but could Michael Johnson be sizing up another beautiful dive bomb? Looks like he's gonna use his teammate as a pick down the inside. Nothing there. Alcapara cuts it, lets Johnson through, but Greaves, Ritchie, and that of Cherry Moore all closing. So we might have a battle for about 4th through 10th on our hands here.
Yeah, and I have to say the black and blue racing cars are really working together very well. They are cutting the field together, like very synchronized together. I'm lacking words to describe how good they are racing together at the moment.
There's a drive-through for Tucker. Rob Smith, Stanek, Malerex, and Coates have all done their one mandatory pit stop.
That must be for fixing some damage, because else normally you will not go into the pit lane that early.
Maybe it's just a little more strategy, but Murray still about a second out from that of the block, and then another 3 seconds to Popovich. Wolski...
Well, at the moment I'm watching the lead for bronze. Krupjan, Petrovic, and Hunt are very close together. Are they going to get 3 wide into turn 1?
3 wide,
I think yes, they will.
Is Hunt gonna send it down the inside? No, he's gonna... Kruppeljan hits Petrovic. Hunt is through, but still very, very clean for turn 1. And Sanchez is right behind.
I think it was a little bit naughty for Petrovic to push Krupjan onto the grass. I think Krupjan is not happy with that type of fighting, I guess.
And Sanchez sizing Kruppeljan up, but now all 3 in bronze. You could kind of throw a blanket over them and I guess just group them all together. But could this maybe be the fight that we're going to see for that bronze win? Or is somebody like a Charsky or Privet going to come to spoil the party with their strategy?
I don't know that, but like for Krupjan, it's very important to stay within the lead bronze drivers, because he of course has a bronze championship to think about it, especially since we are in the middle of the season. He cannot use a lot of points loss as we speak.
Yeah, and it looks like Bettison and Johnson, the 2 teammates, and the 2 Lexus are slowly reeling in Wolski. There's about a half a second gap between that of Bettison and Wolski. But again, we know just how strong those Lexus are.
And it seems like the Lexus has the upper hand of the BMW of Wolski. Wolski is definitely struggling to keep up the pace. I think there's a likely possibility that Wolski will lose the positions to the black and blue racing cars.
Yeah, and right now it seems like Murray's just a little bit better on the brakes than that of the block, as he's able to close in going into most of the corners, but a little more top speed out of the McLaren as the block hits the curve, the second curve, just a little weird, allowing Murray just to close in a little bit more. And it seems that Popovich is being reeled in by Wolski and those 2 Lexus.
Yeah, I think Popovich might have asked a little bit too much of its tires, and he's now tasting the consequences of it, because he is not able to keep up with the 2 leaders in front of him. He is more looking like he's looking behind his mirror than in front of him.
Yeah, and there's a very, very heated battle between that of Kacharsky, Privet, and Kieran Arjun a little further down from 17th through 19th.
And Arjun, being a silver driver, he would like to get rid of those bronze drivers quickly, because on paper, Arjun should be the quicker of the 2 of them, but He is having troubles trying to get rid of the two bronze drivers in front of him.
And Diego Flores just went around the outside of Brian Craig into a Scary, and now Neil Broom Stardog, who started from the pit lane, already up to 24th. So it seems like he has a little bit of pace and under the hood of that Ford Mustang.
It's 46 minutes to go. There are still a lot of possibilities for Stardog to have some great damage limitation. Of course, he's now going down the inside of Broom. Broom, I think, is letting him go because he knows he's not in the fight with Stardog because Broom is a bronze driver and Stardog a silver driver.
Ooh, Arjun looking down the inside of Privet. Kacharski goes straight on at the first corner and crashes through the boards. And if I saw a little post by the admin, they said that there could be a penalty for anybody that crashes through those boards.
Of course, I don't know if you saw the circumstances why Kacharski did that, but like if it was not his fault, I'm sure the stewards could be lenient with it. But of course, I did not see it, so I do not know if that was the case.
A little too much throttle. I just saw him spin right in front of Arjun and Garbino. So probably the easiest pass that Kieran Arjun has ever made. But now he is going to have Garbino just on the back of him, who is looking very, very racy from what we saw in that sprint race.
Yes, but also he lost a lot of places during the sprint race, so I don't know if he has the pace now to make Archer's life difficult. Well, Archer messed up Ascari a lot, and that can definitely help Garbino to overtake him. Very close driving between the two at the moment.
Yeah, and let's check up on that Wolski fight. Oh, Bedison's past Wolski, and he's now close to the back of Popovich. Johnson is also past Wolski, so maybe... again, we know just how quick the Lexus are, but maybe Wolski just used up his pace a little too early on, and maybe just used too much tire, because to get passed by both Lexus and this early is kind of weird.
Well, he's trying to fight back now to Johnson, but he thinks better of it. After Johnson had a little bit of a messy second chicane, but like, yeah, I said it before, Wolski's pace doesn't look great, and the black and blue racing cars have overtaken them. And now that brings, of course, Greaves just 2 places behind Wolski, and maybe Greaves can do something to pass Wolski.
And Bedison just about now on the back of Popovich, who, again, looked to be in a world of his own. But I guess the Lexus just have a little more pace than Wolski, as now going down the back stretch, Johnson is clearing Wolski.
Yeah, I see a little bit of a trend that the M4 looks like they are not that great on its tires. The only exception is Murray, who still keeps a 6/10 gap to the block to keep trying to take over the lead. Well, Betterson is now trying to go down the inside of Popovich, but Popovich defends the inside, forcing Betterson to go round the outside of turn 1. Will this move be done? And Popovich is diving down the inside, trying to defend them. And that is successfully, yes, that is. And Betterson needs to try to fight him another day.
Yeah, and seems I've missed it, but Kruppeljan is now past Petrovic, and he's put quite a bit of daylight between the two of them, and Sanchez as well, just off the back of the two of them.
Well, the Mehmet are still keeping the fight, keeping an eye on the fight for P3. And Popovich is fighting very valiantly, not giving Betterson any chance to go down the inside. Which, I mean, personally, that's my type of defending. I'd love to see that from Popovich.
Yeah, now both of the black and blue racing cars are on the back of him. So could there be a little bit of teamwork and getting a third and a fourth place before the pit stops? I would have to think so. They've been working very, very well together, and I'm pretty sure what they're hoping that Murray and the Block both fight, and they could maybe have a 1-2.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the black and blue racing team would, I think, preferably see Johnson in front of Batterson, because Batterson is a little bit careful on his brakes, while Johnson is not afraid to put a dive bomb down the inside.
And right now, I'm watching Murray and the Block. Again, Murray just way far more confident than the Block when it comes to the brakes, but the Block just having a little bit more top speed in the back of that McLaren.
Yes, and also unlike other M4 drivers. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted by a blue flag from Lee, who is trying to get desperately out of the way for the other drivers. And Lee is off into the gravel, spinning out. And due to that incident, I forgot what I wanted to say. My apologies for that.
Lee back into the pits, and the 46 is that? Yes, that of Malarek.
Wolski has spin out. Wolski has spin out. He's into the gravel. He's falling all the way down outside of the top 15. That is not good news for Wolski. Both championship leaders had massive issues during today's event.
Wolski straight on the second
And look at the front of his car.
Very, very heavy damage.
That is so heartbreaking for Wolski today, who looks like he could have a massive gap to Greaves into the championship, but now it looks like Greaves could be taking the Champions League back.
Sam Greaves is under a yellow flag, so maybe he crashed as well. Because I see him in the pits with the yellow dot.
Did he return to the guards?
Believe so, since he's a yellow dot.
Okay, a little bit of weird action going on between the leaders, even though they are probably not involved with each other.
Oh, Johnson way late on the brakes. Getting closer to his teammate and that of Popovich, who doesn't seem to be crumbling from the pressure, as Al Capar is now in for the first and only of his stops. Is anybody else going to follow? Of course, Wolski is with the damage.
And with that events happening with Wolski and Greaves, I'm looking at
Wellington went straight on, as well as that's not Al Caparo, but that is Sanchez. Both of them went straight on at the first corner.
Well, I'm looking at the championship standings at the moment for Silver, and Mirko Ricci is in a good place to get a lot of championship points upon Wolski and Greaves, and potentially get them back into the fight for the silver title.
Yeah, I think as long as Reggie can keep it clean for the next 38 minutes, he should come out very, very well. Maybe P1 or P2 in the championship.
Yeah, definitely. This could be a great day for Mirko Ricci. Definitely not doubting about that. Well, the two black and blue racing cars still try to attack Popovich.
Murray's
still did
now
not manage.
Murray in for the first of his stops. Is the Block going to respond, or is he going to stay out a little bit longer?
Well, we will find out when he is heading to Parabolica at the moment. But
Cherry
Murray
Moore,
definitely... Oh, go ahead.
Cherry Moore under threat from that of Hunt, who's going to be later on the brakes. Seems like it's going to be that of Cherry Moore. Crumple Jam still in a world of his own. Petrovic not far out.
Oh, Johnson is diving down the inside of his teammate Batterson, and he's taking over the position. Batterson not really fighting that hard of it, but like Johnson was probably not happy how Batterson is attacking Popovic.
Yeah, maybe Bettison wasn't sending it as hard as Johnson would have liked. There could also maybe be a little bit of team orders. Seems that Johnson has a little bit more pace over that of Bettison.
From what I've seen today, Johnson definitely has the better braking performance compared to Batterson. Well, Batterson I think is a little bit too careful on its brakes.
Yeah, it definitely seems like this, but could this be what they need in order to get that of Popovich?
Well, at the moment they are not threatening to overtake Popovic because he has a 1.5 second lead at the moment. Will any of the three drivers now make a pit stop, or will they continue on?
Seems like they are all continuing on. The block stays out for another lap.
The block is definitely following his own plan. Maybe Kimi Antonelli-esque pit stop strategy, maybe. Who knows?
I'm not seeing any battles at the moment. Looks like Williams has a little bit of a threat behind him. No, not really.
Well, I see Cherry Moore try to pressure Hunt for a P6 at the moment. But Hunt having a good exit and making sure Cherry Moore lose ground on him. Well, they also have to manage a blue flag situation. Try to overtake Kuchak.
Murray seems to have extremely good pace. He, again, is kind of a solo shot at the moment, closing up to the small group ahead, which is that of Barty and Stapley's a little further ahead, but Barty and then another BMW. As Garage is now in, Sanchez is now in, and Privet are all in.
That is a little bit of a risk of an undercut because the chance is big that you will encounter some traffic, and those traffic does not have to let them by, remind you, because they are not on the blue flag rules. So they are allowed to fight for position, even though that will probably not be the smartest idea.
Wolski, I think, is a lap down, and behind that of Petrovic. Wolski almost 2 laps down, is what I'm seeing here. So
And
very unfortunate for him and his championship charge, as Hunt now comes into the pits. And Privet's still in the pits. He hasn't gone green yet. Oh, and it looks like he's repairing a little bit of damage that I could see just on the front end. As that of Stardog has now entered the pit lane up to 15th before the stops. So this could potentially be a very, very good bounce back for him.
Well, I think it looks like that Batterson is going through his tires because he has now a huge gap to Johnson in front of him, 2.6 seconds at the moment. So I think it was a correct decision to let Johnson through, if there were some team orders between them.
Yeah, and Murray is now leading all of the pit runners, even though it has Hunt in front. It just hasn't updated through the first sector. Stardog now goes green and is off of the jacks, but the block still a 5-second gap to that of Popovich, who is slowly being reeled in by Johnson. So could we maybe see a little bit of strategy by one of them pitting early as to not have a battle, or are they
Well,
going to battle and allow?
I have to interrupt you at the moment because Greg Stabley and I believe it's Barley, but I can be mistaken, goes almost 3 right into Ascari, with Greg being ahead of the 2 of them.
And as you were saying that, Bettison has now pulled in to the pits, still with 31 minutes left.
And Johnson has pulled Popovic back into his sides. It looks like that one of the 2 probably needs to pit this lap, because if they're going to fight each other, they're going to lose a lot of lap times, which could probably cost one of them a podium.
Yeah, but definitely seems like Johnson has extreme pace in that Lexus, especially when compared to Popovich. But it seems like Murray and DeBlock are kind of racing in their own race. It almost seems like they're into next week with just how much of a gap they have to everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. They are already almost into next week's track compared to the rest of them, which is very much impressive. But I'm curious to see what the tire offset will be between Murray and the block, because the block is still staying out as we speak.
Yeah, very interesting strategy call for him, but will it pay off for him, Cotton? We'll find out in another 30 or so minutes. It looks like Popovich could be pitting. Yes, he's now in. So for Michael
That's a
Johnson,
smart
the
move.
beast is now unleashed. I'm going to
That's
be curious to see if he's going to respond immediately or maybe go an extra 2 laps and just let that Lexus eat.
I think it will be a smart idea to pit this lap, because of course he has to take account of his teammate, who also has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. I do not think that Johnson wants that his teammate Bettison is getting in front of him again, so I will pit this lap if I was Johnson.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Patty, but Stanek around at the second Lesmo. I just saw it on the very, very mini map. But he now gets going, and still Murray leading that of all of the people who have already done their pit stops, and Bettison is just now heading through the backstretch. So I think he's closed in on Murray just a little bit. It doesn't seem that there's as big a gap as there was before.
And one of the silver championships outside Alcapara who could have profited of the bad races of Hosky and Greaves is now fighting a bronze driver of Kuchatic.
Ooh, drive through for Stardog. It's gotta be for track limits.
That's unfortunate for Stardog because he was doing so well.
Yeah, almost as soon as his race started to look up, immediately came crashing down. But Murray still leading all the pit runners by a huge bit over Popovich, who's just now heading into the second chicane. Bettison now far out from Popovich as Johnson is now in, so we'll see how Johnson kind of filters between Popovich and his teammate of Bettison.
I will keep an eye out of him if he will be able to stay in front of the 2 of them, or at least his teammate, because that could be crucial for his race.
Richie in as well. Cherry Moore stays out. Kruppeljan and Petrovic both pit at the same time. So between them, who's going to take tires? Who isn't going to take tires?
I think it will not be a great idea to skip tires, because it's only a 5 seconds deficit, and with the temperatures of today and the conditions that Monza provides, I think taking tires and a 5 seconds extra pit stop will help you race out way better than not taking the tires.
As we now are focused on Popovich, where's Johnson gonna come out in relation to Popovich? You see Popovich go past, and Popovich gets that that over or undercut done, and the black
Bettison
and
as well.
blue. Yeah, oh, Bettison gets it through as well. But if Johnson took tires, he is going to be on an absolute warpath with 27 minutes left. As he has fresher tire, again, if he took tires, he'll have those fresher tires when compared to Popovich and Bettison.
I think he does. I know Bettison has taken fresh tires because he still has the fastest lap of the race, and then you're not able to get that with old tires. So I mean, both of the black and blue racing cars are on the warpath, trying to get at least one of them on the podium and try to hunt down Popovich, who has a substantial lead at the moment as we speak. So Popovich definitely having a good pit stop as well.
Yeah, as we just now see, Tyler DeBlock is in, and Craig has a couple drivers behind him. One of them, the 105, believe that's Rob Smith. Yes. He's behind, I think, saying 2 laps down. So, very, very unfortunate for him. He had extremely good pace at Silverstone just last week.
And now it will be crucial to see if Murray will undercut the block, and if so, how much. The block is now on its way. He is getting out of the pit lane. Will he
I think
stay in
Murray's
front of
got it.
Murray? No, I think he will be staying in front of
No.
Murray.
Heading
Yes, he
into the
does.
brakes. Yep, the block stays ahead of Murray. Again, if they took tires, they're going to be scrapping for, again, the next 25 minutes.
Yes, but the block tires will be cold. So if Murray wants to overtake him, he needs to do it now. Else the block could be looking like he will be running away.
Yeah, again, the block with a lot of pace in the back of the McLaren as Murray goes straight on at the second half of the chicane.
Yeah, definitely a mistake trying to put too much pressure on the block and paying the price for it. Now, of course, he needs to rub the dirt a little bit off the tires that he caught now. So this is a huge opportunity for the block to warm up his tires and basically run away with the victory.
Yeah, Barty's still not out of the pits yet. Don't know why that is. I just saw him, or he just now goes green. The block on the back of a lap McLaren almost taps the back of him. Very, very close. So that may have just cost him a little bit of time to that of Murray.
And I think we can basically confirm now that Johnson has taken tires as well, because the black and blue racing car has approached Bettison really quickly. But I have to say, Popovich's pace on the new tires is impressive well, because he has like more than a 3-second lead over Bettison at the moment. So maybe Popovich has guaranteed himself to a third place podium.
Yeah, but again, the beast has been unleashed for those two black and blue racing Lexus. So if they could kind of tandem again, it's going to be very, very close to see if they'll get past Popovich. But the teamwork that they had in the first half of this race was outstanding.
If the black and blue racing cars have an engineer, I think the engineer needs to give them a team order and let Johnson and Bettison swap, because Johnson has the freshest tires out of the 3 drivers that we see battling continuously together.
Yeah, and the block still putting a little bit more air between him and Murray. The gap is now up to 1.1 seconds, and every driver, Grief still hasn't done his mandatory stop, as well as Craig and Cherry Moore. Those are just the last 3 that need to do their mandatory stop.
Yes, and I'm afraid that the block with fresh tires could now be running away with the win. Of course, he needs to make sure that he does not make any silly mistakes to get.
The block off. He went way, way off on the exit of a scoring. Now, is this what Murray needs to, again, get his fishing rod and maybe go fishing?
I mean, that was definitely a commentator's curse because I wanted to say that the block should not make any silly mistakes. And what does he do? Making a silly mistake. You're welcome, I guess.
All right. Still, Cherry Moore still staying out, and Craig as well.
I think Jerry Moore is trying to have the freshest tires out of everyone so he can charge a mega attack on the drivers that he was potentially fighting with. But he should not wait too long, else he could be losing too many positions to make up.
Again, not really seeing any battles on track. Popovich just in a little bit of traffic. The block has clear track for the moment, but still with
I see
Murray
a
on the
little
back of
battle
him.
between Stardock and Stapley for P19, but I think that's pretty much it at the moment. Well, Stapley goes off a little bit, and Stardock is down the outside of Stapley at the moment. Will he go around the outside of Parabolica? If he managed to do that, I mean, that is a massive move. And Stapley choose to not even fight it for it and let Stardock through for P19.
Yeah, again, Stardock, even though he started from the pit lane, a P20 or now P19 won't be half bad, but I'm pretty sure he'll still be kicking himself after
I
that
think we should
drive-through.
go watch the fight between Popovic and Patterson. I think Popovic made a mistake because he lost his 3 seconds lead to Patterson. And Patterson is now all over the place of Popovic.
Yeah, goes defensive heading into Parabolica. If Bedison can get this run lined up, he might be able to send it going into turn 1. And it looks like that car is absolutely wired. Bedison now into the slipstream. Closing. Popovich goes defensive. Can Bedison get that around the outside? We know how strong Popovich is on the brakes. Popovich just beat him to the apex, hits the curb, and knocks himself into into that of Bedison, but Johnson is now there. So both the black and blues, are they going to be able to tandem and pass Popovich for the best team result?
I think Johnson now wants to overtake Patterson because he's like super close to it. He is not afraid to attack his teammate, and he's doing it now as well.
Yep.
And very close racing, but Johnson makes the move stick.
Yeah, and we know just how much pace Johnson has in the back of that car. So is he going to be able to close into that of Popovich and maybe line up a turn 1? Again, and Popovich isn't afraid to go defensive either. So it'll be very, very close.
But I think Patterson is also a little bit seeing some red mist as well, because the defense of Popovic was very clumsy, I have to say.
And Cherry Moore is now in. Craig is just now coming into Parabolica. Is he going to pit with 18 minutes left? And it seems that the block has now gone ahead and put yet another 4-second gap between him and Murray. So looking up for that of the block and his return as he gets past both Cherry Moore and Brian Craig.
Yeah, I mean, that is the effect of the fresh tires from the block. I mean, his strategy was perfect, and somehow he managed to stay in front of Murray, which was, I mean, that decided his race as we speak. Well, Huge and Backmarker is getting a little bit in the way of Johnson at the moment, not really helping him try to overtake Popovic. Popovic using that to the max to pull away from him. Well, at the moment, fighting for P10, that is Krupian and Petrovic. Both drivers fighting for the bronze win as we speak. Will Petrovic have a cheeky dive bomb down the inside of turn 1? The answer is no.
Just a little too far out, I would say.
That will not have been smart, I will think.
Yeah. Again, not seeing anything at the moment, but it definitely seems like the block now a 5 second gap is running away with this here at Monza. Murray just looked like he had something for the block in the first half of this race, but as soon as we got to the second half of the race, it kind of seems like Murray hit a wall when it came to pace.
Yeah, I think that is the deficit of the all the tires that he is on right now. I mean, that with the hot temperatures as well, it was a risk he took, and the risk did not pay out. And now he's really struggling. Maybe even he needs to watch his back because Popovic, Johnson, and Patterson, of course, are approaching as well, and the gap is not that huge.
Yeah, not big at all, but Bettison just now falling off the back of his teammate and Popovich. But again, Johnson very, very solid on those Lexus brakes as we see him absolutely reel in Popovich almost within touching distance, it seems. But it seems like Popovich just gets a little bit of a better exit from turn one.
Yes, but I can tell you, with the braking abilities of Johnson and the defensive abilities of Popovic, this could be a stellar fight for P3. But if they are a little bit smart and maybe they have the pace over Murray, they probably should work together and catch Murray and then have a three-way fight for P2.
Yeah, still another 15 minutes, almost within the sprint race distance. So now is going to kind of be the happy hour, if you will, for the drivers, where they're going to start giving it all that they have as Popovich has a little bit of a slide coming down the straight, heading towards that of Ascari.
Potentially, yeah,
Johnson.
but I can tell you, it will be an exciting fight, exciting final of race 2. And I don't know who will be P3. I don't even know who will be P2.
Seemed like Johnson took a little bit too much curb on the first bit, but he's still closing in on Popovich.
If he has a good exit out of Parabolica, I mean, I can definitely see him down the inside or even the outside if Popovic is defending that again. Popovic going a little bit wide, I have to say. And that, I think, gives Johnson a chance to overtake him.
Yep, as
He is
we're
reeling
riding
him in.
on the wing of Popovich, he goes defensive to that of Johnson.
Oh, contact!
Oh, a little
And he
bit of
pushes
contact.
Johnson off into the grass. And that was too aggressive for Popovic. Oh my god.
Yeah, brings Bettison back into the fight as we see a flash of the lights from that of Johnson, who didn't like the move. Looked like Popovich was just squeezing him a little bit too much. I was on the wing camera, sort myself back
I
out to
was
the
on I
track
was
cam.
on the outside camera. I from the angle I had the feeling that Popovic moved a little bit too much on the braking and forces Johnson off track.
But again, now is Black and Blue going to be able to reel in Popovich again and kind of work their tandem magic?
I
Still
mean,
13 minutes left.
we have to see how much damage Johnson gained from that action from Popovic. Patterson was so kind to let off his gas and let Johnson stay in front of him, but Johnson, his tires are probably screaming as we speak.
I'm not seeing any damage on Johnson's car. At least on the front, is there any damage on the rear? Just a couple little scratch marks.
Yeah, so maybe the damage isn't too bad, but like it can affect the straight line speed a lot. So, and that is the Lexus power. So let's see what the remaining 30 minutes of the race will doing for Johnson.
Yeah, Popovich with, it says, a 1.5 second lead coming out of the last split. Still a 1.5 seconds between the the three of them actually.
Well, there's also a massive fight going on for P9 between the two lead bronze drivers and Millington. A three-way fight for P9 as we speak.
Millington looking down the inside. Is he going to let it stick? No. But Petrovic slowly closing into that of Petrovic. As they
Yeah,
are now working around a little bit of lap traffic, who lets all three of them go ahead.
that's a prime example of how you should act under a blue flag. Well done to Williams. Well, Williams is going straight line, the chicane basically.
Yeah, as Jararski is now back into the pits, so maybe
I
some
think we should
heavy
move over to
damage.
P3 because Popovic, Johnson, and Patterson are within a second from each other. This will be the battle for P3. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking at the gaps between Patty, but almost 10 seconds that DeBlock has put on Murray. So very, very dominant if he can keep it for the next 11 minutes and 10 seconds.
I mean, if I was the block, I would just set a lap time that you should drive every lap till the end, not taking any risk because he has this race basically in the back. Of course, no safety cars, just like in F1 that can ruin the gap. So this is his race to lose as we speak. Well, Popovic is defending the inside down once again from Johnson. Will he make the move stick? Johnson makes the move sticks, making sure that he does not dive down the inside of Johnson. Well, this is, in my opinion, some good revenge. Johnson took the lead for P3. Popovic needs to look back in his mirror because Patterson is close to him again as well.
Yeah, maybe Bedison could get past, although he doesn't look as strong. Oh, Popovich just
Ooh.
hits a little bit of the grass, runs a pinch wide, now back on the
Oh,
rear of Johnson.
Popovic is not ready to give up for P3 just yet. I mean, I don't know about you, Wellington, but I'm really liking what I see from this fight for P3.
Yeah, ooh, Popovich just takes a little bit too much curve on Lesmo too. But again, those black and blue cars seem absolutely hooked up around here. He's
Definitely, if there was one track to score major points for the black and blue cars, that is this track.
as we saw Bedison almost run into the back of Popovich heading down to Ascari. And I'm quite surprised that Johnson is going to try and use himself as a pick to let Bedison through. I thought surely he would have done that to, again, get the best team result. But seems like Johnson now is checking out and kind of
Well,
leading or letting Richard Bedison kind of fend for himself.
I think that is the best play overall because, of course, we don't know how big the damage for Johnson actually is with the early incident between him and Popovic. And I have to say, Patterson has to be a little bit more decisive on the brakes anyway, because I find him very careful on the brakes when he's fighting someone. So I think this P4 is Patterson to lose.
Yeah, again, just 8 more minutes, so I'm pretty sure that's sticking in the back of Bedison's head. Like, oh, I currently P5, but I could get a P3 as he whams on the brakes going into the second chicane. Much, much better than that of Popovich, who is now on the rear again of Johnson. Seems that the second sector isn't the best for the Lexus, and it seems to be more of that first and third sector.
Well, I think it's also the case that Johnson messed up the second chicane twice in a row. And that, of course, caused Popovic to still have a look down potentially the inside of Johnson and still give him hope that P3 is still on the cards. So if Johnson can manage to hit his braking zone before the second chicane, I think he can be running away with it. Else he still gives Popovic the hope for a podium.
Lap car of Rob Smith staying out of the way. That's what we'd love to see. But still, this battle for third, again, very, very close. And it seems that Pedersen just now falling off the back as Popovich
Oh.
gets one heck of a run on that of Johnson. But again, Johnson and that Lexus are just going to stretch its legs as it's
Ooh,
almost
a little bit of door
touching.
webbing, I guess.
Johnson going defensive. Popovich going to try for the outside, doesn't get it. Pedersen closing in. Pedersen just gives a little love tap
bit contact.
to that of Popovich.
I think that could be the difference between Popovich and Pedersen fighting, because Pedersen is now the inside, and now this is the time for Pedersen to be decisive on the brakes. Well, Popovich is now defending the inside. Good work for Popovich. Oh, contact!
Oh,
And Popovich is off! Popovich is off!
I don't really know what happened there. It looked like Popovich moved under the brakes. Also looks like Johnson turned into him. So if there is a ticket, we'll see how that plays out. But both of them make it through cleanly.
I had not the correct angle to see who was exactly at fault between Popovich and Pedersen, but it's clearly that Popovich does not really like the black and blue racing cars, because he got involved with both cars within an incident. And that somehow Popovich is still P4. Oh, he flies over the curves! And that is it for Popovich's fight for the podium. That is it.
Very, very unlucky for him. I was just about to say that they've been battling so hard that Johnson put almost a 4-second gap on the pair of them. Then Popovich hits the inside sausage curb, and it looks... Is that... No, that's the lap car of Sam Greaves just behind him. Very, very unfortunate for Popovich, who now has almost 2 seconds to close in to Pedersen to maybe try and get that P4 back. As we see
this
Johnson
also plays in the hand of Mirko Ricci, who is now also approaching Popovich, who had significantly damage on his M4.
Yeah, again, only 4 minutes, and it seems that everything's unraveling, but there's also everything to play for.
I mean, in the end, the black and blue racing cars got what they want, and there's a 3-4. Amazing team result. Also, let's say, amazing team result from the independent racing drivers, who is securing a 1-2 for their team as well. So we having some major team results. Also, compared to the Greasy Bandits, who is leading the Team Constructors Championship as well. So that could be having some major changes for the Constructors Championships as well.
Yeah, not the best showing for the Greasy Bandits cars. Very, very down, or very much down the order. Wolski and Stardog, 16th and 17th, respectively. So, could maybe the 4Q team close in just a little bit to the Greasy Bandits, as Hunt is up in P7 and Sam Greaves down in 33rd. They might close in just a pinch, but not enough for us to really see that they closed in or far more. And Murray slowly closing.
I think we have missed something, because Patterson is suddenly P3. Did they swap positions?
I don't know. I was looking at the gap between Murray and the block, which was 10 seconds. And now it's only down to 5 seconds.
Yeah, but I think, to be honest, that the block is like taking it easy. Could also maybe be a case that he maybe underfueled a little bit and then he needs to save fuel. But of course,
Could be.
Yeah, he's lifting off massively. I think he's underfueled. I think the block is underfueled. He lifted off massively.
He
So,
still
because
has about 2 more laps. So can he hold on, or could this be a debut win for Murray, who...
as it looks right now, I think it could be a debut win for Murray. He look at Wellington, look at the block, and when he's lifting off massively.
Let me ride on board with that of the block. And it seems like he is short shifting. So, oh, the block lifts as the end of the pit wall. So it definitely does seem that he underfueled. So, again, I think after this lap, there's going to be one more. But Murray is hot on his toes already. As we head to the wing cam, you could just see Murray, who is, I guess, within touching distance of the block.
Yeah, there must have been a few calculation mistake in the pit box from the block, because I mean, Murray is basically guaranteed now to win, because look at the gap now. It's just a second.
But is the block gonna do
Oh,
a lot of
Murray
fuel
almost
saving,
lost.
or could Bettison and Johnson get a 2-3? Even though they're just now going into the first Lesmo, the block is heading about halfway down to that of a Scari.
Now the
Oh,
block is letting through.
Murray now takes over the lead. I thought it was going to be the block. He was, again, he had that 10-second gap to Murray. I think the block's out of fuel. Yeah, he's extremely slow. Which means that Bettison and Johnson now up to the podium. Popovich is now going to pass. Very, very unfortunate for that of the block. You have to feel for him. Dominates the race. And in just the last little bit, Murray now heads onto the white flag lap. Only another minute 50 seconds or so for him to take a debut win. But again, this result is only getting better and better for the black and blue racing cars. Looking to take a 2-3.
And Mirko Ricci P5 with Cos Widdle. Oh, Mirko Ricci has damage! Mirko Ricci has damage!
Yeah, I just saw that he was slow. Hunt, again, slowly reeling in that of Richie. So there might be a last lap scrap for P5. Although Hunt, a couple too many car lengths back to really make any move early on into the lap. But is he gonna push to see if he can catch up to that of Richie?
Don't call. Don't let the Fat Lady sink too soon, because look at Mirko Ricci's car. It's bouncing all over the place. Hunt still can still able to get P5.
Yeah, very, very heavy damage on the front end of Mirko Ricci's car, and sliding everywhere too. Could this be what Hunt needs? Looks about as close as he's been all day, but not the best of exits. Ricci still probably
we will now see that Murray
lengths.
will be crossing the line for his maiden win at SimPlay Pro-Am.
Yep, Murray, a couple of car lengths from the line, wins on debut from Bettison and Johnson, who are going to do a formation for their team. Popovich with a very well-deserved P4. Richie and Hunt. Is Hunt going to go around the outside too wide? And Ascari Richie manages to hold on to P5. A P6 for Hunt. Cherry Moore looking to round out for P7. And kind of a hidden figure, I think, this entire race. Millington looks to be bringing up a P8. And Kruppeljan is going to win in that of bronze from Petrovic and Sanchez.
Amazing result from Kruppeljan, P9, Petrovic P10. I think those two young drivers, future drivers, shown a great potential how they have raced today. I think all of those drivers are very young.
Drive through Kaczarski just at the end. That's going to be 30 or so second time penalty. Might be 110, 30. I'm thinking of the LMU. So 30 seconds to Kaczarski added. That might drop him.
Maybe
I think that might
couple
only
places.
drop him behind Malarex. No. As Barty now comes across the line. So, Patty, who was your silver and your bronze driver of the day?
Silver definitely has to be. I have to go with. I have to go with Johnson. Even though Murray won his first race, I think Johnson showed excellent driving skill displays. I'm very impressed with his braking into the hard braking zones, even though the Lexus is not good at it. So my vote goes to Johnson.
And then bronze?
Kruppeljan is basically, for me, the only one that stands really out. He won the Bronze Drivers Series in B9. Very impressive result. Beat 6 silver drivers, as I can see so far.
And then I would say for my silver driver of the day, while it might be the bland choice, I'm going to say Murray. He showed extremely good pace pretty much the entire race, even though the block seemed to have just a little more oomph, but just due to his fuel miscalculation, which again very very unfortunate for him, it definitely seemed like Murray had something happen to the block, like as we saw, it definitely seemed like Murray was going to be up there. Then I'm going to back you up with Kruppeljan on that of the bronze driver of the day. He looked very, very solid, even though he didn't have the best of qualifying sessions. As we are now joined by the two black and blue racing cars, Michael Johnson and Richard Bettison. So I'll start with that of Johnson. We saw that you had just a little bit more pace over your teammate, and you went for a couple passes. Was that just down to team orders, or did you feel like you would have been able to catch and put more of a gap on the cars behind?
I was more to put a gap on the cars behind, just to help me get forward more, really.
Okay, and we saw that you had a little bit of a run-in with Popovich going down into turn one. Just want to know kind of what your thoughts are on that, if it was something on your end, if it was something on his end.
I think it was just got a bit carried away between the two, to be honest. But I'm good about it.
Okay. Now I'm going to move over to your partner in crime, that of Richard Bettison. P2 for you in the Lexus. We saw last season that you struggled in that Aston Martin, and it seemed that as soon as you switched back over to the Lexus, everything kind of just fell into your hands.
Yeah, it was the worst thing ever doing that last season for Willie Aston. So happy to be back in the Lexus. It just feels the right car for me. Tonight's racing was unbelievable. Couple little things like happened, but that's racing, I feel, and I'm so happy with the second place. It's my only second podium, outright podium on SimPlay, so I'm happy.
And then when Popovich made that mistake in Ascari, were you kind of like smiling or rubbing your hands as probably one of the easiest overtakes I think you would have ever made here in SimPlay?
More crossing my fingers hoping he didn't hit me when he come back on, to be honest. But yeah, have a bit of smile, but great racing from Popovich, really great racing from him. I had little bits of touches but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
If I may ask a question to Patterson as well, I witnessed also an incident between you and Popovich into the second Ascari. What are your opinions about that?
Yeah, I thought maybe he's like staying on his line, and I feel like I touched a bit of the grass on the outside, and it just caught him. So when I was going to wait for him anyway. I didn't want to touch him or anything like that, or take him off.
All right, so to both of the black and blue drivers, take your hardware and store it in the team facilities, as we're now moving on to the bronze race winner of Kruppeljan.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Definitely seemed like you had a little bit of a quiet race. Wasn't as dominant as some of the other races. It seemed like you had an okay qualifying, but just kind of walk me through the race.
Yes, first of all, congratulations to the winners in server class. It was a tough race from the beginning, and yes, I qualify like a good position in quali, and can I just pray to God like to don't mess up in turn one in chicane, because sprint race was like chaos, and yes, I was really good pace, and my friend Petrovic was behind me all the time, and I was trying to be ahead, and I think I did pretty well today.
So now, again, another race win. Are you starting to slowly think about a bronze championship charge? It seems like you've had extremely good pace lately, and you're always towards the front of the bronze pack.
Yes, like I said in a previous interview, I was like going for podium in Monza because I know I can, and if I win another podium next race and the race after that, yes, I will fighting for champion this season because I know I can.
Okay, and I can't remember where we're heading off next. It might be Alton Park. What are your thoughts on that of Alton?
The what? Sorry.
Oh,
Oof. I really don't like that track because it's not good for me. But I will train and manage to have some pace on that track as well.
okay, and is there anybody else for an interview? Again, congrats on your, again, another bronze win. Tomorrow night, the pros take to the Temple of Speed here at Monza. Both the gold and the platinum drivers. Let's see how fortunes shake up and if there's any more turn one incidents tomorrow night at 8 p.m. British here on SimPlay. We'll catch you tomorrow.